Isn't it fascinating that we are created a man or a woman? And looking back at the beginning of time in Scripture, it talks about how God created mankind in His very own image. Male and female created He them. So somehow the Creator God's design was very purposeful to make each of us come out not neuter, but a man or a woman. And as I look at that, I really can think through how that adds so much, but also it's something that I never get away from. I'm always bringing my masculinity, my maleness, into a relationship so that if I am relating with other guys as a man, I'm probably less likely to talk about my granddaughter and more likely to talk about college football or something. If I'm relating to the women in my life, I may talk football, but I also may talk a little bit more about relational things and personal things. So this is really cool. So God created us a man or a woman to me to add a richness to texture, to really make it our human relating really, really different and exciting and unbelievably with meaning. And I think when I look at it, though, it's good sometimes to try to find and look at that word masculinity, femininity, because I think not only did God create me, Doug, a man, and I have man body, man parts, and I have a mind that operates like a man, a lot more left brain, and the gals that are listening to this, you're a lot more, you have a bigger cingulate between your left and right brain, so you multitask better and you access both parts of your brains differently and better. So when we relate, it's interesting how God did make us truly man or a woman with some hardwired differences, but I think the concepts are bigger than just male and female. I think the concepts also get into the whole idea of masculinity and femininity. And so culturally, over the centuries, we've looked at what is masculinity or what is femininity, and it's varied at times in cultures as to what's the ideal feminine or the ideal masculine. But I think that in each of us, God places both the masculine and the feminine. Like Doug, you know, my friends kind of laugh at me and tell me I'll never be macho. I wish sometimes someone would call me dangerous, but I'm usually adorable or cute or something like that. And so I realized that there's part of defining Doug that would be what we would more stereotypically design as call feminine, if we were defining that. And so I realized that within my personality, I have the masculine and I have the feminine. And maybe if masculine is things like stepping in and into chaos and making a difference, or maybe masculine is calling something out. Maybe feminine would be some of the mother hen, the mother bear, the nurturing, or being more inviting. So I think when I look at it, how cool that God made each of us a man or a woman, and that we always take that with us, and that it will add something to the way we relate, it'll add something to the way we think and feel. And some of that is hardwired, some of that's acculturated, it's something that not, you know, nature, nurture. Some of it's nurtured and not hardwired. But think more complex than even just masculine and femininity. That's that's neat. I'm really glad to be married to my Kathy and to understand over these many years a little bit more about femininity and feminine sexuality and all of that. But I also realized that thinking deeper, that we do have that masculinity and femininity in us, and we can kind of ponder what part of us maybe embodies some of that feminine or masculine. Again, going back to my wife and I, my wife is the logical one in our relationship, but I oftentimes am that strong one, Scripture talks about the man being the strong tower, the shelter in the storm, so that as she gets upset, frustrated, hurt, I can step into her life with my masculine presence, with my maleness. So interesting concepts, man and woman relating create something that would never be created, a richness, a texture that never be created without man and woman relating. And within each of us, probably there is some of that, there is some of that masculine and some of that feminine that again adds something to the way we relate and the way our personalities can interact and form those intimate relationships.